Covered property, under coverages A, B, or C, coverage is provided to pay the cost of removing that tree, subject to the following. The tree is located more than 250 feet from the insured dwelling, and the fall is due to a covered cause of loss, or if the tree is less than 250 feet from the insured dwelling, and the fall is due to a covered cause of loss, other than fire or lightning, explosion, riot or civil commotion, aircraft, non-owned or operated vehicles, vandalism, or theft, coverage to remove the tree will apply. If a covered cause of loss causes a tree to fall, but there is no damage to covered property, and the tree blocks access to the insured dwelling, coverage is available only if the access is blocked, due to the tree falling either on a driveway, or the tree blocks a ramp, or other fixed or designed to assist a handicapped person to enter or leave the insured dwelling. The most that will be paid is $1,000 for any one loss, regardless of the number of fallen trees, and is limited to $500 for the removal of any one tree. The next additional coverage is for credit card and electronic fund transfer cards, or other access devices, forgery, or counterfeit currency. This coverage is an additional $500 of insurance, unless a higher limit is shown on the declarations. This additional coverage is not subject to a deductible. This coverage specifically pays for any credit card obligations due to either theft or unauthorized use of the card, and the insured has complied with all credit card terms and conditions. Any loss due to theft or unauthorized use of an electronic fund transfer card or debit card, and the insured has complied with all credit card terms and conditions. Any loss due to forgery or alteration of any check or negotiable instrument, and any loss involving counterfeit United States or Canadian paper currency when accepted in good faith. Losses specifically not covered by this additional coverage are credit card or debit card losses, when used by a resident of the household or by a person entrusted with a card, or any loss arising from business pursuits, or dishonesty if any insured. So let's say Farmer Jim provides a credit card to his head farm hand George to purchase feed and supplies for the cattle. One day, George overhears Jim saying something derogatory about him to another farm hand. George becomes angry and uses the farm credit card to purchase $10,000 worth of items online for himself. George then leaves the farm and skips town. When Jim gets the bill, no coverage would apply under this additional coverage to pay the credit card bill because Jim entrusted George with a farm credit card. Section 3 also provides an additional coverage for water damage. In the event of a water damage claim that is not excluded on the form, and that results from a plumbing, heating, air conditioning, or automatic fire protective sprinkler system or household appliance, this coverage pays to tear out and replace any part of the insured building or structure that blocks access to the pipe or other equipment, causing the water damage. This coverage does not pay the cost to repair any defect which caused the water to escape. A plumbing system does not include a sump pump, or related equipment. There is also an additional coverage for grave markers. It pays up to $5,000 for grave markers, including mausoleums, on or away from the resident's premises, if the damage or destruction was caused by a peril insured against. Now, we are moving on to a discussion of the next farm property form, known as the Farm Personal Property Coverage Form. It covers scheduled and unscheduled farm personal property under the insuring agreement C, F, and G. The insured will decide which of the insuring agreements they would like to purchase, and those specific coverages will be designated on the form. The first insuring agreement is covering G, scheduled farm personal property. The insured will select from a list of items to be covered, and a limit for those items will be scheduled on the form. These items include grain, farm products, poultry, livestock, machinery, vehicles and tools, equipment and supplies, incidental to farm use. Remember that growing crops are not covered as personal property. Under covering G, you'll also want to pay careful attention, when answering questions on the state exam, to whether the question is asking about household personal property or farm personal property. These two coverages can be easily confused and would make a big difference in which answer you select. Covering F of the Farm Personal Property form provides coverage for unscheduled farm personal property. The coverage is written on a blanket basis, both on and away from the premises. Covering F of the farm family to park their personal vehicles would be covered by coverage B of the farm dwelling form. A garage located beside the barn and used to park the trucks that transport chickens from the farm to market would be covered by the Farm Personal Property Coverage Form, Coverage G. There are a couple of other specialized forms that may be attached to a farm package policy or written as a monoline policy for use by a farmer that needs coverage for livestock or mobile agricultural equipment but does not need any other property coverage. The Mobile Agricultural Machinery and Equipment Coverage Form provides coverage for specified mobile agricultural machinery and equipment separate from other farm property. Coverage is written on an open peril basis with very few exclusions. The livestock coverage form provides scheduled or blanket coverage for livestock. The form is written on a named perils basis and covers certain types of livestock, including cattle, sheep, swine, goats, horses, mules, and donkeys. Poultry cannot be covered under this form. The form requires that the livestock be insured for 80% of its value, so this form contains a co-insurance provision. He insured will select the perils insured against by selecting basic, broad, or special causes of loss on the declarations page of the policy. If the insured selects the basic causes of loss, coverage will apply for the basic perils including fire, lightning, and internal explosion, plus the extended coverage perils. The EC perils include wind, civil commotion, smoke, hail, aircraft, vehicles, volcanic eruption, explosion, riot, plus vandalism and malicious mischief. To remember these perils, you can use the tricks or mnemonic devices we use to help you remember the perils for other property policies. If the insured selects the broad causes of loss, coverage will apply for all of the basic perils, plus the following broad perils: burglary damage, ice, sleet, and the weight of snow, glass breakage. Take discharge of water or steam from within a household appliance, heating, or air conditioning unit, an automatic sprinkler system, or plumbing. Freezing objects, the same objects for which accidental discharge is covered. Falling objects. Electrical current, meaning the sudden and accidental discharge of artificially generated electrical current. Collapse. And tearing, which means the sudden and accidental tearing apart, cracking, or burning of a steam or hot water heater, air conditioning, or automatic fire protective sprinkler system. Collision coverage is provided, but only for coverage E and F. The coverage applies for damage in the course of transit by common or contract carrier. The broad perils that we discussed on the previous screen are the same as the broad perils covered by the commercial property policy. However, the farm property causes of loss form have some additional broad perils specific to the farm risk. These additional broad perils are electrocution of covered livestock, drowning and accidental shooting of covered livestock, attacks on covered livestock by dogs or wild animals, bloating and unloading accidents. If the insurance elects the special causes of loss on the declarations form, open perils coverage will apply. Of course, open peril policies have specific exclusions. The exclusions of the farm property form are dishonest or criminal acts, pollute and circumcontaminants, transfer of property due to unauthorized instructions, voluntary parting with property, and failure to save and preserve property from loss. The definitions, conditions, and additional coverages of the farm property forms are essentially the same as those covered by the commercial property forms.